Hi, I'm Jessica, and today I'll be talking about my experience with Graves' disease and hyperactive thyroid. So let's start. The symptoms. Well, initially it started with dry eyes, and I thought because I was wearing a mask all day long that the air that was circulating was pushing up into my eyes, and so I was like, oh, maybe that's why I have dry eyes. And then I remember I asked someone like, oh, is that happening to you? I thought maybe it was just something happening to everyone because, we're all wearing masks. And a friend of mine, well, she's a family member, she said, oh yeah, that's happening to me too. I got these drops and it helped out. So I got the drops and it would help out for maybe about 10 minutes at a time. It still wasn't alleviating the dryness or the irritation that I had in my eyes. So that was the first symptom. Then after that, I started to feel very anxious. And I thought, because I was going through some things at home that, I was just anxious about that. And because we were back in school, I'm a teacher by trade. We were back in school and everybody was, sometimes people would take their masks off and whatever. I thought maybe that was causing the anxiety, the stress. And then I've always been someone who works out a lot, right? And, I fall off, I get back on like everyone else. But I was working out in the mornings and I would notice that after the workout, my body would just shake. So I thought maybe I had diabetes and my blood sugar was going low because after I would do the workout, I would drink something or eat something and I would feel a little bit better. But then the shaking at some point just never stopped. I would just be trembling all the time and seriously trembling, like my hand would just keep moving. And I was like, this isn't right. Something's wrong with me, seriously wrong with me. So that's when I decided to go to the doctor. So it was that along with other things. I will read you a list of the symptoms that I had. I wrote them down because it was quite a few. Fast heart rate, anxiety, tremors, hot flashes, tired, exhausted, like extremely exhausted. And I thought it was the workouts, but I would be exhausted all day. And when I would get to work and I would have to go up the stairs to punch in, to like sign my time card, I couldn't make it all the way up the stairs. I'd have to sit like on the floor, on the steps. And then students that would come up would be like, oh, are you okay? Can I help you? And I'm like, no, I just need a little rest. For some reason, I thought like, oh, I had worked out too hard. Maybe I didn't eat enough. You try to make these, like answer all these questions in your mind. Another thing, when I was working out, I don't use heavy weights. I use light weights, but I had to go even lighter on the weights and I couldn't hold my arms up for long. I think I told a story in another video where I was brushing my hair and just in a few strokes, I had to put my arms down. They were so tired. And I thought, oh, that's strange. What is that about? So another one was increased bowel movements. There was a point where I got up to maybe 9 bowel movements a day. 9. I felt like I was living in the bathroom. Dry eyes, which was the first symptom, of course. Irritated eyes. I kind of felt like there was sand in there or something, like I would rub. And sometimes I would rub it just because I would want to kind of activate it and lubricate my eyes. But then I realized that, or I thought, oh, maybe I irritated my eye by rubbing it so much. So I stopped doing that and I would just use the drops. But still, I always felt like there was something in my eye, especially towards the top up here. It felt like something was in there, like a little grain of sand. I found it hard to breathe. So in the middle of teaching, sometimes I would have to stop because I couldn't breathe. I would have to sit down and then the class would have to wait a little while before I could go on. I would just lose my breath. Irritable. Well, that could be anything pretty much. I feel like every illness, every disease, every condition has irritability. Dry, crepey skin. Okay, so I am 47, so I do have some dryness, some crepey skin just because of age. But I noticed that from like day to night, areas of my face just got very, very crepey along the neck and under the chin. Even on my cheeks, where I never had like a crepiness before, on my arms, they're actually, I'm doing a lot better because now that I've gotten it under control, things are kind of reversing. And I also use natural shea butter for my skin, which is helping a lot as well. Itchy skin. I don't know if it was because of the dryness, the crepiness, the weather, whatever, because this happened, it started in January that I started to notice. I don't know exactly when it was, developing, but the first symptom, I would say around January of 2022 till about, I think I went to the doctor in March. So for that time, I didn't know what was going on. So from January to March. So the weather is cold and dry in this area. The next thing was hair loss. That really didn't happen till later on. And I think that might have been due to cutting out a lot of things that I was eating. So I might have cut out too much protein. So one of the ways that I started to maintain and reverse the Graves' disease was through diet. And whatever I ingested, whether it was through, visually, drinking, eating, on the skin. And I changed a lot of that. And what I realized was, now looking in hindsight, that I might have eliminated too much protein in my diet because my hair loss really didn't start till maybe about May, June. And all the other time I didn't notice any difference with my hair or my nails. So I think that was one of the things that I've learned throughout the process. The next symptom, which might be more for people with Graves' disease than people with hyperthyroidism, is eye bags. This area got really puffy. I never had loose skin around my eyes. Like I said, I am 47, so there are things that are happening because of age, but that was something that just seemed to happen from March to June, where all this just started puffing up and getting really dark underneath. And also that included eye pains. It felt like there would be a shooting pain from the back of my eye up into the front. That has gone away. The bags are still kind of here. The crepey skin is getting better. The itchy skin is gone. And some of the other symptoms are gone too. I'll go over that after. Blurry vision. So I did end up going to the eye doctor, and this was maybe in January when I first started getting the dry eyes. I noticed also that I couldn't see as well. And I had LASIK surgery years ago. So I know that it doesn't, how would I say it? It doesn't last forever, right? Your eyes continue to age. So my eyes continue to age. So I'm like, well, that's a normal process. But it also did cause some blurry vision. I went to the doctor. I explained to her what the symptoms were for my eyes. And she urged me to go to the doctor, to the regular doctor, and have blood work done so that I could see what was going on. The next thing was feeling winded, and I think I spoke about that already, as far as like being in front of my students and talking to them and then not even be able to finish the sentence because I was so winded. And also just walking in my house or outside, I would just have to stop after every maybe 5 minutes. Night sweats. I think I mentioned it in another video, but I would sweat all night long. There were times that I would have to wake up and change my shirt because I would be so drenched. I would be drenched. I would wake up and then I would shiver, and I'm like, oh my God, I thought maybe I had COVID or something, but it was just night sweats. The next one, weight loss. I lost about 20 pounds in about the span of a month and a half. I weighed myself before going to the doctor in March. We had a virtual appointment. And so I weighed myself so that they can document it. And then maybe beginning of April, weighed myself again, and I had lost about 20, 25 pounds. Muscle loss. So when I say weight loss, it also includes muscle. The reason I mention that is because I do work out, and I noticed that areas that were tight before had gotten very loose. So I knew the muscle was and the muscle was weak. Not just did it look smaller, but it was very weak. I couldn't open the window in my kitchen. I would have to ask my son to do it for me, or to open a jar, or to carry something. It was just, I was very, very, very weak. And then the last thing that I can recall is extreme hunger. And I thought that was because I was doing some intense workouts. I was like, oh, I'm just extra hungry because of the workouts. But I realized that later on that no, that was a symptom of the hyperthyroidism. I was just extremely hungry. And there would be times at work, let's say I had already finished my lunch or my breakfast, and I was still hungry. So I would go to the corner store, the bodega, and get just a sandwich, like on a Portuguese roll. But I realized after I ate it, I felt fine within the time eating it, and maybe like 10 minutes later. But then about a half hour later, I would feel awful. And then I was like, oh, am I hungry again? It was just, I didn't realize then that I shouldn't be on gluten. That's one of the things I eliminated that I still don't eat. And I have a whole list of things that I don't eat anymore, and things that I reintroduced into my diet, because you will eliminate a lot of stuff, and then you kind of introduce a little bit at a time to see what works for you and what doesn't. So this journey started for me January of 2022, and now we're in August of 2022. So I'm still in the process. I'm still healing. I'm still getting better, and I'm sure this will be a lifelong thing of maintaining. But some of the symptoms that I can say that I have either eliminated or are at the very minimum. I have a list here, and I'll just go over. So the fast heart rate, I still get that sometimes. I notice it if I eat a lot of carbs, it'll kick up. And if I'm outside or doing something where I get really hot, my heart starts beating really fast. So I have to just come back in and cool down. The other day I went outside to trim the weeds, to get rid of the weeds. And it was really hot out. I had to come back in, and for about 5 minutes, my heartbeat was just really fast. It settled down eventually. The next thing, anxiety. I only get it if I'm actually anxious. I'm nervous about something, but it's not a constant. Before, it was like, I didn't even have to think a negative thought or a scary thought or anything like that. It would just be a constant feeling. And it also started to make me a little depressed, because I didn't want to live like that. And I was thinking, how is it possible? Like, I'm not even thinking about anything specific. And the anxiety, the fear was just running through me at all times. Tremors. So the anxiety and the tremor were going hand in hand. I would be shaking and nervous, but not even know why I was being nervous. And then I would be shaking because I'd be nervous about, being shaky, that people are seeing me. And I teach art. So to be able to draw and do things, detail things with my hands was very difficult, very, very difficult. But that has gone away. The hot flashes and sweating, that's gone away. So I don't feel, what used to happen was I would be in class or at home, and out of nowhere, I would just feel heat just rise, and then I would just start sweating. I would just get hot. Or if I moved too quickly, my body would just heat up. That doesn't happen anymore. And tired and exhaustion, that's gone. The arm raising issue, gone. Increased bowel movements, back to normal with that. Dry eyes, back to normal. That was the first symptom to come, and that was also the first symptom to go. Irritable eyes, gone. Hard to breathe, gone. Irritable, I don't know. That might still be irritable. Dry, crepey skin, getting better. Itchy skin, gone. Hair loss, getting better. Eye bags, getting better. They're still there, but getting better. Eye pain, gone. Blurry vision, I think that's permanent. But I think that's permanent because of age. Feeling winded, that's gone. Night sweats, that's gone. I'm shaking my head like this because it's summertime and sometimes it gets hot, so I don't know if it's a night sweat. I believe it's just because the air conditioning shut off. Weight loss, stable weight. Muscle loss, I still have the muscle loss because I have not started lifting weights again because I'm being cautious. I'm still a little bit afraid that I will overwork myself. So I have not done that, but I have started some yoga practices, meditation practices, stretching, those types of things to help me out. And extreme hunger, that's gone. I still get hungry, but what I am doing intermittent fasting, so I start to eat around 11 and stop eating around 7, and sometimes even fewer hours than that. So I try to do the intermittent fasting so that my body can kind of heal itself a little better and has time without having to digest anything, just deal with other mechanisms in the body. But because I'm still on a limited diet, I do find myself hungry at times where I'm like, oh, I wish I could just eat a big burger with fries and everything, but that's okay. It's okay. Another thing I wanted to mention is that I'm not a doctor, right? And I do suggest that you go to a doctor and get your tests done so that you can see where you are and if in fact you have hyperthyroidism or low thyroid or Graves' disease or anything else. So get your blood work done and take care of yourself, right? If you have any of these symptoms, check it out. Maybe it's not Graves' disease, maybe it's something else, but you're definitely worth looking into so that you can be strong and healthy for yourself and for your family and all your loved ones. And thank you so much. If this has helped you or if it can help someone else, please give this a thumbs up so that I can put out more content. I would love to give you my plan as to what I did to make myself better, and I did it all without medications. Thank you so much. Goodbye.